Goes, welcome one, welcome all. Now give me an amen. Now how about a hallelujah? Hallelujah, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Time for liftoff on the show with no name. Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Come on.
0. Ignition.
We got this.
Liftoff. Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Come on. Come on. Get up there.
Get ready.
There it is.
Hold on to your hat. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name time on Vaughn Radio. It's a show with no name. It's the show. Let's go.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Show with no namers from all around the world. Thank you so much for joining us today and every day here on the show with no name. It's always a special day when I get to spend it with my amigos. So thank you. Thank you for choosing to spend today and almost every weekday with my friends. You know them, the amazing people over at Vaughn Radio. I'm talking about Kyle Miller. I'm talking about Rob Grams. I'm talking about Gretchen. She's our latest radio host / teacher. And you can catch her program right after this one. It's called Speaking with Confidence, and let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a spade a spade. Las cosas por su nombre. Who doesn't want to be a clear communicator? Who doesn't want to speak with confidence? Well, Gretchen will help you do that every day right after the show with no name. So quite simply, stay tuned after today's show and you can listen to Gretchen, followed by Rob and Andy. That's right, Rob and Andy in the lunchtime show as well.
First things first, how are the machines doing? You good?
Yeah, good.
All right, cool. Let's take a little picture. Quick question, though. ¿Cómo se dice emparejar en inglés?
No sé. ¿Tu emparejate?
No, emparejate. Usas Tinder, ¿no?
Sí.
Pues, ¿qué pasa cuando te gusta una chica y hacéis pareja? ¿Hacéis un
Match.
Eso es. Y vamos un paso más allá. Un matchmaker, uno que hace parejas, es Celestina.
Ah, claro, ¿qué sentido tiene?
¿Ves? Lo sabías, pero no sabías que lo sabías.
Así es, This Book is the Shit, el nuevo libro de Alberto Alonso
Y Damián Moya.
Así da gusto aprender.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right, folks. You can pick up all my books over at vaughntienda.com, or if you are in one of these amazing cities, Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, Vigo, Valladolid, Valencia, Santander, or Zaragoza, stop by. We'd love to give you a free level test, and we can even give you a tour of the facilities. You say instalaciones, we say facilities. All right, well, amigos, let's rock and roll with our first interactive section and the last pop quiz before the summer break. Again, You'll have live shows from many of my my amigos here at Vaughn Radio. You're going to have live shows. I don't think everybody took vacation these next 2 weeks. So you will have live shows. But then when I come back, the radio will be on a break and we'll be doing some other things. We usually use that time to get ahead on other projects because, as you guys know, we don't only do radio, we record audio for all the different materials here at Vaughn, and we do video products as well. So we're always working. Even when it seems like we're not working, we never cease. You know that word? Does it ring a bell? Cesar. We never cease. And speaking of audio that's recorded for different materials, let's do today's pop quiz.
Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz, 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 quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz, 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 quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz.
All right, folks, it's time for our pop quiz. Let's make it count. Let's make it count every day, but today especially. Today, we're going to take a look at what I always call the backbone, la espina dorsal, one of the backbones of the Vaughn method. I'm talking about none other than the translation booklets, which are, I mean, they're, again, worth their weight in gold. You've got every structure you're going to possibly use in the English language therein. And like life itself, it starts easy and it can get pretty tricky towards the end, especially when you're looking at those more complex structures, such as hubiese si habría, I would have if you had, you know, these ones that even native speakers fuck up. La cagan. So, but hey, folks, the good part is it's got audio, and not the good part. I think the essential part is that it has audio, because what you have to do is listen to that audio and try and replicate it to the best of your ability. Now, those of you who have a natural musical talent, it's going to be easier for you if you've got a good ear for music. Well, what do you think languages are? It's a melody. Have you ever heard an Irish person speak? Fitz, they sing in a singity song is when they sing in a song. That's how they sound like they're singing. I love it. I'm not mocking, burlándome de. I'm not mocking the Irish accent, but I think it's beautiful. I think it's melodic. Okay, some languages are more melodic than others, but think about that. Some genres of music are more melodic than others, right? You can't compare reggaeton with let's say old time rock and roll, like Chuck Berry. Those guys, there's just no comparison. We're talking about apples and oranges, como decimos en inglés. Tenemos una expresión. It's apples and oranges. O sea, no se pueden ni comparar. All right, so everybody listen up. As always, you'll hear some translations from the audio of translation booklet pocket, and I don't know if it'll fit in your pocket. I've got to be honest. It doesn't fit in my pocket, but you know what I mean. It's pretty portable, and you've got everything you need. All right, amigos, let's give it a listen, and then, of course, I'll have a couple challenges for you afterwards.
List 3.
Estoy decepcionado con tu progreso.
I'm disappointed with your progress.
Eres capaz de hacer mayores progresos.
You're capable of making greater progress.
No has hecho un gran esfuerzo.
You haven't made a big effort.
Has desperdiciado mucho tiempo.
You've wasted a lot of time.
Tu madre está muy disgustada.
Your mother is very upset.
Deberías haber estudiado mucho más.
You should have studied much more.
Deberías haber asistido a más clases.
You should have attended more classes.
Tengo razones para estar enfadado.
I have reasons to be angry.
Ahora, ¿qué voy a hacer contigo?
Now what am I going to do with you?
¿Qué va a pensar tu abuela cuando se entere?
What is your grandmother going to think when she finds out?
Casi tengo miedo de decírselo.
I'm almost afraid to tell her.
¿Sabes cuánto ha costado este curso?
Do you know how much this course has cost?
He tenido que hacer sacrificios.
I've had to make sacrifices.
La vida no es un lecho de rosas.
Life is not a bed of roses.
Tienes que luchar por todo lo que consigues.
You have to fight for everything you get.
Nunca llegarás a ninguna parte con esa actitud.
You'll never get anywhere with that attitude.
No entiendo a los jóvenes de hoy en día.
I don't understand young people nowadays.
Cuando yo tenía tu edad, estábamos orgullosos de ir a la universidad.
When I was your age, we were proud to go to university.
¿Qué os pasa?
What's the matter with you?
¿Qué vas a hacer ahora?
What are you going to do now?
¿Crees que voy a mantenerte para siempre?
Do you think I'm going to support you forever?
Más vale que busques un trabajo.
You'd better look for a job.
Ya te hemos dado 2 oportunidades.
We've already given you 2 chances.
No las has aprovechado.
You haven't taken advantage of them.
Deberías estar avergonzado.
You should be ashamed.
No hemos llegado a una conclusión aún.
We haven't reached a conclusion yet.
Se han limpiado las casas.
The houses have been cleaned.
Se han destruido los barcos.
The ships have been destroyed.
No se ha corregido el error.
The mistake hasn't been corrected.
Tus posibilidades son muy remotas.
Your chances are very remote or slim.
Se han cambiado los números.
The numbers have been changed.
¿Es esto todo lo que has hecho?
Is this all you've done?
Acabo de empezar.
I've just started.
¿No puedes trabajar un poco más rápido?
Can't you work a little faster?
¿Quieres calidad o cantidad?
Do you want quality or quantity?
Acabamos de recibir la noticia.
We've just received the news.
Yo acababa de comer cuando él llegó.
I had just eaten when he arrived.
¿Has rellenado el impreso?
Have you filled out the form?
¿De qué impreso estás hablando?
What form are you talking about?
Del que está delante de ti.
About the one that's in front of you.
Pero esto es un impreso de solicitud.
But this is an application form.
¿Qué estoy solicitando?
What am I applying for?
Quiero que solicites un trabajo.
I want you to apply for a job.
¿Para qué?
What for?
Para que puedas tener una vida mejor.
So that you can have a better life.
Pero me gusta mi manera de vivir.
But I like my way of life.
Con un trabajo tendrás más dinero.
With a job, you'll have more money.
¿Para qué quiero más dinero?
What do I want more money for?
Para que puedas comprar más cosas.
So that you can buy more things.
El comprar cosas no trae la felicidad.
Buying things doesn't bring happiness.
Listen carefully. Can you hear that? No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughntown, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughntown, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to grupovon.com or give us a call, 911-385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughntown. That's right, folks. Find out all about Vaughntown. It is one of our most amazing initiatives. It is, I would go as far as to say, it's life-changing. I'm telling you, how do I know? I have many, many students who have been through Vaughntown and they raved about it. You know the word rave? Well, to rave, we looked at this when we were talking about critics and movie reviews. We said to pan is to say that was a horrible movie, but to rave about it or to receive rave reviews means everybody loved it. All right. This is the kind of vocabulary you'll find out there in videos on the internet, in articles, especially when we're talking about movies. All right. Well, we listened to a little excerpt from Translation Booklet. You heard some wonderful voices there, and I'm not talking about my own, but Fitz and so many other great voices. And folks, really, really amazing vocabulary. All right, let's see. I've got something for you over here, and I want to see if you know it. And obviously, the best way to do this is to use it in context. So if you're familiar with these words in today's pop quiz, then let's see if you can put them into a context, and preferably a context where you would use them. Right? So if the first one is decepcionado in Spanish. I hear this word all the time. Que decepción, me decepcionado. It's not an easy one to say for us. Right? Decepcionado. Okay? And be careful, it's a false friend. It's not a deception. Right? What a deception. Deception is a word in English, but it's not that one, right? As we call them. Those false friends, right? So, the first one is use it in context, decepcionado. You see, I keep saying the word, and I'm trying not to say the word because it's hard to say in Spanish. All right, the second one is disgustado, and it's another false friend. It's another word, when you look at it, you're going to think it means something else because you say disgustado. Well, I'm disgusted. No, it's disgusting. Not really. It looks like it. That's why they're called false friends. Disgustado. All right, that is the second one. Use it in context, and obviously use it in a context where you would actually use it. Can you think of a time when you were disgustado? I'm sure all of us can, right? Disgustado. Okay? And the last one, I want you to use the structure. In Spanish, it's debería haber, and then a verb. So, debería haber estudiado más el inglés cuando era joven. Okay? Debería haber, I call this, the wonderful thing about this one is all you have to do is think about something you regret. Because in English and in Español, debería haber hecho eso, pero no lo he hecho, but I didn't do it. So this is, I call this, I mean, this is my own nickname for it, the regret tense. You know, it's when you're saying, oh, why didn't I do that? Debería haber. And you know what? I know we all live with that philosophy of no regrets, man. But we all have them. Sure. And also, you never know what would happen if you had taken a different path, you know? So more than regrets, doubts, saying, "Well, if I had done this, would this have happened?" And of course, we don't live in that world. I remember a friend of mine used to say, and I loved it. And he would say, "Yeah, but what if? But what if? What if?" Constantly giving you these what ifs, as you know. And his answer was great. His answer was, "What if my grandma had balls?" And pardon the vulgarity here. What if my grandma had balls? Well, then she'd be my grandfather. But that's not the world we're living. Basically saying, like, what if we can't live in the what if? This is what we got. But what if I had done that? What if I had done the other? What if my grandma had balls? Well, then she'd be my grandfather. But in other words, like, you can say what if all day long if you want, right? Until you're blue in the face is the idiomatic expression. Until you're blue in the face. Hasta más no poder. All right. So the first one, we've got two false friends here, and we'll look at the other meaning as well. What a deception is, and what disgusting and disgusted is. All right. So the first one, decepcionado, use it in context. The second one, disgustado, also use it in context as always. And the third one, tell us a regret, right? Debería haber. And you fill in the blanks over there, my amigos. Some other really good vocabulary that I wanted to highlight from the translation booklet, which, as I said, you can pick it up at Vaughan Tienda. You can go in person in Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, Vigo, Valladolid, Valencia, Santander, or Zaragoza. Or you can just go to the website, Vaughan Tienda. Grupo Vaughan is the main website, vaughantienda.com. Well, that's where you can pick up materials. We even have full courses that you can get. So if you're looking for some resources for the summer, stop by vaughantienda.com. Also, remember, if you're on Amazon, a lot of people are Amazon Prime subscribers and stuff, and you're like, well, I already paid for delivery. It's all, covered. Well, then, you can find us there as well. As we say in English, you can find our books wherever fine books are sold, right? Wherever fine books are sold. All right. Bed of Roses. That's a lecho. How do you say it again? Bed of Roses. I forget. But you don't say cama. You say el lechazo, no. Un lecho. And it reminds me that I learned that one, lecho de muerte, too. Because when I heard lecho, I thought like lechazo. I was thinking about food for a change, para variar. So, un lecho de rosas. Any Bon Jovi fans in the house? I want to lay you down in a bed of roses, but tonight I sleep on a bed of nails. I want to be just as close as your Holy Ghost is and lay you down in a bed of roses. Which is a little bit different than it's no bed of roses. I don't think I've ever used this expression here. Well, it means it's tough. No es fácil, no es pan comido. Oh, man, working and living in New York City is no bed of roses. We looked at another way to say it. Remember with Elena, it's no pleasure cruise. Yeah, people, they idealize, living in New York, greatest thing in the world. Oh, yeah, if you're rich, maybe. And even then, you're in there with the masses. You got to wait online like everybody else. So, all right, so bed of roses. Now, it's interesting because lecho de muerte, we don't say a bed of death. We say our deathbed. And a lot of times this is used figuratively. What are you going to regret on your deathbed? I remember a quote I heard, really, for those of you who are a bit of a workaholic type like me, right? You can get lost in your work, right? We say, well, I don't know if it's a common idiom, but I heard it and it really stuck with me. And it was, I wish I had worked more. Ojalá hubiese trabajado más. Said nobody ever on their deathbed. Dijo nadie nunca en su lecho de muerte. Hey, it's true. I wish I had spent more time with my family. I wish I had said this. I wish I hadn't said the other. right? All right, so some really good vocabulary in there. We looked at also the phrasal verb to fill out a form, un formulario, an application form, de solicitud. That's a really good one to know because what do? You apply for a job, but you'd better apply yourself, which is a little bit different. Apply yourself means to give 110%, something you guys do every day here on the show. Folks, we have got to take a quick commercial break. I can't believe we've flown through part 1 of the show. We'll be right back with parts 2, 3, and 4. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm going to say. If I were you, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of today's show with No Name on Von Radio. Don't forget to start your day with my buddy Rob Grams and the Pro Bow Show. It is like a huge dose of caffeine. Rob will get you going. He'll get your motor running. Head out on the highway, looking for adventure. Rocking and rolling with Rob Grams every morning on the Pro Bow Show. Also, you've got Fitz and his program, No Excuses. Sit in on a master class. After this, you've got Gretchen and Speaking with Confidence. After that, you've got Rob and Andy, best buds, BFFs, best friends forever. And they have the lunchtime show. Grab a bite to eat picotea algo, and join my buds. You've got Let's Get Random with Jules Linares, The Salad with Dave Boyce, Kyle Miller's Drive Time, Chris Frank and Frankly Speaking, Jessica Fernandez, and The Hour to Empower. And of course, the one and only Richard Vaughn and Richard Vaughn Live. All right, amigos, let's kick things off with the Say What soundbite. Yes. Say what? All right, amigos, it's your Say What soundbite here on the show with no name. And as always, the Say What soundbite is where we hear a famous person speaking. And I want you guys to kind of analyze what you hear and relay it back to me in your best English. Hopefully, after the fourth listen, some of you even after the third listen, you'll be able to get it down word for word. All right. Is everybody ready? All right. Here we go with today's Say What soundbite for the first time.
Hearings are over. The airline bill will be defeated in the Senate. TWA will begin flights from New York to Paris, and then on to Moscow, to Japan, to Hawaii, to Los Angeles, to New York. Fuck.
All right. I guess that's not a good thing. All right. Let me give it to you a second time, and then we can talk about what you heard. Here it is, your Say What soundbite for the second time.
Hearings are over. The airline bill will be defeated in the Senate. TWA will begin flights from New York to Paris, and then on to Moscow, to Japan, to Hawaii, to Los Angeles, to New York. Fuck.
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah. Wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés. Con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damián, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the Shit. That's right, vaughantienda.com, where you can pick up all those resources to get you through the summer. And by the time the summer's over, you will have taken your English to the next level. Future perfect tense. You will have taken it to the next level by the time the summer is over. All right, we've got a lot of show with no namers joining us here. Also, we're going to be hearing from Anix, Marisol, Nuria, Chris Valrol, and Elena. The ladies, what can I say? Ladies kicking butt there. So we'll hear from them a little bit later on in our question of the week. All right, let's see who's with us right now. Open Waters. He says, morning show with no namers. Hello, Open Waters. Great to have you with us. There's Chris Valrol. She says, morning show with no namers. Let's go all out. I love it, Chris. There's a totally native. Let's go all out. Let's go balls to the wall. Esa es un poco vulgar. Balls to the wall. A por todas. To go all out. I love it, Chris. You sound like a native speaker. All right, there's Laura. Laura, speaking of native speakers, our Italian teacher, and she says, good morning, lovely show with no namers. Good morning, Laura. Always great to read your name in the roster, the attendance sheet. Let's see, there's Elena as well. Speaking of superstars, Elena, bringing the magic. She says, hello, teacher and classmates. It's our last class. So let's make it count. Ready to get lifted. Awesome. Welcome, Elena. Great to have you here. Bru de Cal says, eres el más simpático de todo el equipo. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hola, guapo, says Obed. Oh, please. No, I'm not handsome. Obed says, amo mucho tu trabajo. I'll take that compliment. That's a beautiful one. Thank you so much, Obed. And thank you, Bru de Cal, who are checking in on Facebook. CM Punk says, hello, nice to meet you. Hello, nice to meet you too. Thanks to YouTube, because I randomly found out, it says pound out, but I think you want to say found out this video right now. You just found it, right? To find out is enterarse, right? You didn't know about. So I found out about your page, but I found the video. And CM says, I'm fluent in English, but my tone sounds, with an S, a little bit, with an A, a little bit rude or arrogant. Well, if you're fluent in English, you made some simple mistakes there. Just saying, maybe it's because you're typing quickly, right? But I'm fluent, but my tone sounds, right? My tone sounds. Well, either way, just remember, this is text. I don't get your tone. The only time I get your tone is if you participate in the question of the week, a weekly speaking section. But CM Punk, thanks for joining us. Thank you. I'm glad you stumbled upon my video here. Even if you don't need English, well, hang around for the movies, the music, the awesome company. All right, there's Laura. Laura says, I'm very disappointed at his behavior. Very good. Disappointed. Decepcionado. I'm very disappointed at his behavior. The next one. He was really upset when he heard the news. Yes. I remember that one used to be like a dagger in my heart when I would say, Mom, are you mad at me? ¿Estás enfadada conmigo? She said, no, I'm just upset. I'm like, oh, ouch. You know? So upset, disgustado. Great, Laura. That's 2 for 2. And the last one, he should have taken better care of himself when he was younger. Yes. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't. Remember, guys, I taught you that one. Every time we look at these should have, could have, would have, well, anytime we're expressing that regret, I should have gone to your party yesterday, man. Yeah, coulda, woulda, shoulda, didn't. Right? So should have is should have or shoulda when we pronounce it, just so you know. But don't write it OF. That apostrophe VE sounds like of. I should have called you sooner. I should have. Okay? So excellent examples, Laura, and knocking it out of the park as always. You never disappoint. You never let us down. Hey, there's another way to say defraudar, decepcionar. Defraudar is another way to say that too in Spanish, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. I'm asking. All right, let's see. Chris Valrol says, I was disappointed to learn how unsustainable AI is. Artificial intelligence. Good, great, very, very current example. Muy actual. There's another false friend, right? So yeah, just be careful. A deception, with that first one, a deception is a lie in English. To be deceptive or to be deceitful means you're trying to deceive people. So you are, you're always deceiving people with deceptions. So it has to do with lying in English, not with not meeting someone's expectations. You really let me down. Y también, ojo, como sustantivo, as a noun. What a letdown. Vaya decepción. Or what a disappointment. As you know, we don't just look at the adjective. Well, while we're at it, how do we play with this word? How do we use this idea in other structures? When it's a noun, when it's a verb, right? So it's very disappointing. What a disappointment. What a letdown. All right, the next one. Chris says, I am deeply disgusted by its inefficiency and inconsistency. All right, now, here's the thing about disgusted, because disgusted is really, really strong. Hello, why is word reference giving me? It's got a banner, which is fine, but you can't put the banner where the search box is. So this is more asqueado, indignado. All right, just be careful, because upset is more like, oh man, well, this stinks. And asqueado is like, this fucking sucks. So just be careful, a little bit of, right? And also remember, disgust, piensa que da asco, right? So it's a little bit stronger. Asqueado, right? Indignado, fastidiado, hastiado, enojado, okay? So I'm deeply disgusted, so va un paso más allá. Just make sure you know the difference there between the two. By its inefficiency and inconsistency. Great. And the last one, I should have started meditating sooner. A song is coming to mind right now. I should have known better than to change a friend. Waste the chance that I can give. No, I'm never gonna dance again the way I dance with you. I should have known better than the time. I know that that's a song. It's from the 80s, but you've got it in there as well. Also, Bruno Mars. I should have bought you flowers. I should have gave you all my hours. Said, yeah, I should have given, by the way. Thanks, Bruno Mars, for teaching them incorrect English. Man, they say Bruno Mars said it's gave. It's given, right? Should have plus the participle. All right. Excellent job, Chris. Open waters. Simeone felt let down after the team was defeated. Great. He was really pissed off. Okay. To be pissed off, again, is to be very, very angry. So that's like disgusted and pissed off. Whereas disgustado, again, is less angry and more, let's see. Let's look for a synonym for upset. That's the best way to do it. Okay. Upset, emotionally disturbed, molesto, right? So it's not the same as being enfadado. It's a little bit lighter. That's what I'm getting at here. Okay. So if we say I was upset, it means more. I expected more. If you say I'm disgusted or I'm pissed off, it means this is the worst. Okay, so just be careful. The weight of words is very important. All right, and the last one, they should have trained more. Y otra vez con el participio, so te falta una ed. They should have trained more. Should have. All right, excellent job. Open waters. Elena says, I'm let down by your report card. What a downer. Vaya bajón. There's a totally native. Downer, bajón. I am let down by your report card. Your report card is donde ponen tus notas. Okay? What a downer. She says, your mother will be so upset with you. Great job. And the last one, if you had just hit the books, you wouldn't have flunked so many tests. Very good. And she's using the past conditional. If you had hit the books, otro totally native. Elena, what a way to kick off the summer. She says, if you had just hit the books, si hubieses estudiado, then you wouldn't have flunked, otro totally native, so many tests. Excellent job to all of you. All right, let's see. We've got a lot of comments coming in over here. Let me see where we are. Chris Valrol, there she is. She's got something to say about today's Say What soundbite. Let's see what her analysis is. She says, I heard an American man making plans out loud. He thinks he'll be able to go, among other places, to Paris, Los Angeles, New York. Suddenly, he realizes something and says, fuck. Absolutely, Chris. Excellent job. Elena, let's see what Elena has to say. Elena says, an American man informing about an airline bill that will be discussed in the Senate. Elena, you nailed it. Yeah, absolutely. A bill es una factura, pero también es algo en el Senado, es como una ley. A ver cómo lo ponen aquí. Bill, cartel, no, proyecto de ley. Proposed legislation. Okay, so you'll hear that. Congress has passed a bill. Okay, I know you know the word Bill Gates, right? Bill Murray. Well, also, además de factura y facturar, it also is proposed legislation. Okay? All right, so excellent, Elena. Wonderful ear there. Yeah, there's something about the Senate and some airline bill. All right, let's see. Laura says, I heard an excerpt from an American movie in which one of the characters is enumerating different cities and countries an airline will fly from and to, and finally realizing something he doesn't like. Wow, excellent job, ladies. Chris, Elena, and Laura. I think together, you have all the information you need. The good thing is you're going to hear that another 2 times in today's show. So I'm pretty certain that you should be able to figure most of it out. But right now, we're going to move on to another section, a section where we look at words that tend to throw my students off. Desconcertar. I'm talking about homophones on the show with no name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. 'cause homophones time, 'cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. 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 Show with no name. Show with no name. The show with no name.
All right, amigos, let's take a look at these homophones or not. You're going to tell me. The first word means rough. Rough. So when we're talking about particles, right? You can talk about the example here. It's a perfect example. A cat's tongue, right? Have you ever been licked by a cat? I was this morning. Yeah, he was licking my head. I'm like, come on, guy. That's how I woke up. I was woken up by Kike, my cat, and yeah, his tongue is very áspero, grueso. Okay, that's one way to say it. We also use it to talk about sal gorda, right? So you would say sal gorda, you would say sal áspera, gruesa. Okay, so it's the same word that we would apply there when we're talking about a certain kind of bigger salt, right? That's in bigger pieces. The grains are bigger. The grains or the crystals are bigger. Okay. Also, we use it when we talk about speech. So if you use bad language, like I do sometimes here on the show, the word can mean rudo, grosero, o chabacano. Hey, that's a cool word. El chabacano, el chabacano. It sounds like a dance, doesn't it? So, yeah, it's vulgar. It's another way of saying vulgar. So we use it as an adjective when we talk about speech. Okay. And also, it means something of inferior quality, right? Malo, como una copia mala. I think the best way you say versión AliExpress. All right, so that is the first word, áspero, grueso, el adjetivo que usamos con sal gorda. Si hablamos de vocabulario que usamos, pues es rudo, grosero, chabacano. All right, and the second word is a word that means also, are you ready for this? It means decir palabrotas. It also means maldición. Okay. So, maldición is our next one. Okay. También es decir palabrotas. So, hey, this is a vulgar homophones today, isn't it? All right. The first word again, áspero. Hey, it's good for me to practice saying these words. Rudo, I think, was one of the words. No lo estoy mirando ahora. This is going on memory. All right. And the second word, as I said, is maldición. Decir palabrotas. Okay. It's also the verb maldecir. It's also decir palabrotas es una palabrota. So if we use it with the word then we're saying una palabrota, right? And as you know, if I say the F word, what am I saying? The F word is F-U-C-K, right? The one and only F word. All right, amigos, we're going to take a quick commercial break right now. And when we come back, we'll take a look at your answers in our homophones. Also, we're going to hear from some of you in our question of the week. We also have to listen to our Say What soundbite for the third time as well. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover in the second half of today's show. And then, folks, I am turning off the computer. Well, not yet. I have to finish some things. I'm not right after the show. I have a class, too, later on in the afternoon. And I have to pack. Hay que hacer la maleta. Oh, man. Oh, shit. I just got overwhelmed realizing all the stuff I have to do. All right. Well, I'll take it in stride. This is something we looked at this week. To take it in stride, lo tomaré con filosofía. Folks, we'll be right back with much more. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 3 of today's show. Again, thank you so much for your energy, your oomph. And as you know, I'll miss you guys. Of course, I'll enjoy that downtime, ese tiempo más tranquilo. But I will miss you guys. And I know when we come back, I'm always ready to rock and roll. Hey, it's good. You need to rest. You need to recharge your batteries. We say the same thing, I guess, because it's real. We say the same thing because I think it's something everybody in the world can agree on. We're not robots. Even though the expression charge your batteries makes it sound like we are robots. Oh, that's weird. These paradoxes of life. All right, amigos. What else? We've got our spelling bee. We've got question of the week. Who are we going to hear from? We're going to hear from Anix, Marisol, and Nuria in this part of the show. And then in the final part of the show, we'll hear from Chris, Valrol, and Elena as well. Plus music, movies, double trouble, famous birthdays, and so much more. And then afterwards, you've got a plethora of amazing programs here on Vaughn Radio. Just download the Vaughn Radio app or search for your favorite programs on your preferred podcast platform. And you can learn English for free. All right, amigos, let's listen to our Say What soundbite. It's going to be a tough one today, but I believe in you. All right, here it is for the third time.
Hearings are over. The airline bill will be defeated in the Senate. TWA will begin flights from New York to Paris, and then on to Moscow, to Japan, to Hawaii, to Los Angeles, to New York. Fuck.
¿Te gustaría abrir puertas a nuevas oportunidades y estar listo para cualquier desafío? Con el máster de inglés del Grupo Vaughan podrás transformar tu futuro. Este programa intensivo te ayudará a dominar el inglés profesional, perfeccionar tu comunicación y ganar la confianza que necesitas para conseguir tus objetivos. Nuestros profesores Vaughan especializados te prepararán para afrontar en inglés todas las situaciones de comunicación en un entorno profesional. No dejes que el inglés sea una barrera. Invierte en tu futuro con el máster de inglés profesional del Grupo Vaughan. Llámanos al 91-133-5833 o entra en grupovaughan.com.
All right. Let's take a look then at our homophones and see what we come up with here. The first person to take a stab at it is Elena, and Elena gives us the correct words, and she says they aren't homophones. No way, Jose. Open Waters gives us the correct words, and he agrees. Daniela, Laura, Chris has given us a sentence. Kike or Kike's tongue is but he doesn't They're not homophones. So right now it is unanimous. There's Daniela checking in. Hello, Daniela. Glad you're able to join us as well today. It's great to read your name and have you on board along with the rest of the English superstars, our show with no namers. All right. So the first word is coarse. Okay, he uses coarse language and coarse salt. Okay, he also likes to curse. He uses coarse language. He likes to curse. They are not homophones. Now, I'm going to ask you a question here. A question, excuse me. The first word, okay, que es, we said basto, we said grueso, right? If we're talking about salt, that is a homophone to another word. What is that other word? So curse, if I think about it, I can't think of another word, not off the top of my head at least, that sounds like curse. But that first word, there is another word that sounds like it that I think most of you should know. All right. In fact, you definitely know it because you hear it in when we talk about the sports expressions. In this book is the milk too. In that ad, I say it's par for the. Viene con el territorio, es lo que hay. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you guys know it. Open Waters and Laura. So here's a good way to remember it. I would like some coarse salt, C-O-A-R-S-E, for my 4-course meal. Okay. And a course is the platos, right? Oh, we had a 4-course meal. We also use it, a golf course, the expression, it's par for the course, right? An English course. Just remember, a lot of people, they say course. So just remember, it's exactly the same as coarse salt. So if you remember this sentence, you'll remember that both of them are pronounced the same. He uses coarse salt and coarse language during his 4-course meal. Los primeros dos son coarse y el último es course. All right? But ninguno se pronuncia como lo acaba de pronunciar. All right? It's coarse. Say it with me. It rhymes with horse, right? I think there was a show called Mr. Ed, a talking horse from my mom's generation. And the song went, a horse is a horse, of course, unless that horse is missed. So a horse is, of course. There you go. All right, excellent job. Show with no namers. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, we're going to hear from you now in our question of the week.
Question of the week.
All right, folks, question of the week time. And before we begin, a nice round of applause for Elena. You're missing a couple words, but all right. Not a bad effort at all in today's Say What soundbite. The good news, maybe we'll be able to fill in some of those words in this 4th listen. Well, not yet. In the 4th part of the show. All right. So stay tuned. Hopefully somebody can get all of it. But Elena, I think you're missing just 1 or 2 words there. So really, really nice job. All right. Who are we going to hear from today? Well, we're going to hear from Anix. She's a student who participates week after week. I know I speak on behalf of all of us, but we love hearing from Anix. She always has such a lovely contribution to the show, and she's going to tell us where she would go if she could travel back in time.
Hey there, Anix here. If I had a chance to go back in time, I will go to the ancient Greece. I love that culture. I love those myths, and I would like to see those beautiful places in their bloom, know firsthand the culture and all of that people, famous people that gave us many things that we have right now. I like it. I just love it. Okay, guys, have a lovely summer. See you around. Bye-bye.
Wow. Again, I think all of us are going to say this. It's really, really nice to listen to you. You have a soothing voice. You sound relaxed, and you can hear your smile, Anix. Yeah, that's how you know you're a good communicator. Someone can hear you smiling. And great answer, too. Ancient Greece. Yeah, that's got to be amazing. You know, the Olympics, democracy, you know, these amazing temples and the gods, and it must have been an interesting time. Ancient Greece. Wonderful answer. A couple things. Just be careful, Anix. You said, I will, I would, or I'd. You decide. So I will. It's a very common mistake. Very common mistake. A student of mine always says wool. I wool. I'm not going to use any names right now, but wool es lana. Okay, and will es el futuro. Esto es wood. ¿Sabes decir madera? Entonces, repeat after me. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Ahí lo tienes. How much wood? So just be careful. I'd or I would, nunca I will. Okay? And you corrected yourself when you were going to say it right. You said those people, and then you said that people. So, ibas bien con those people, porque that is singular, and people is plural. Anix, lovely job. Wonderful. It was wonderful hearing from you. And again, what a great answer. All right, the next student to participate, and she participates all the time and talk about lovely voices. She is Marisol, our friend. And let's see what she has to say.
Hi, it's Marisol. Where will I go if I travel back in time? I reckon will be go back to Ireland, that it was on my late 20s, early 30s, even though the weather was drizzly, sometimes heavy rain, windy, most of the time, the experience worth it a lot. I found myself that I reached self-confidence, independence. It opened my mind. I met people from all around the world. I learned new culture, which it was great. At the start, it wasn't a piece of cake, but I love challenging myself in tricky situations. I didn't make that decision at the drop of a hat. It took me months, but it's the best I ever done. I recommend it enormously. If you feel that you need to do it, go ahead, because it's the best experience, personally talking or speaking. Greetings to our show with no namers. Bye.
All right. Excellent answer. Also, you expressed yourself with confidence. And again, you may make a mistake, one or two more or less each week, but nobody can take your confidence away from you. If you are, I'm telling you, if you speak with confidence, if you present yourself with confidence, even if you make 20 I've seen people. A friend of a friend the other day, I went to go visit him, and the guy barely speaks English. It's okay because we were able to speak Spanish, but he insisted. He's like, I want to speak English. I want to speak English. He was killing the language. He was butchering it. Patada y otra patada al diccionario. Y pinga patada. And I was like, oh my God. But you know what? He was confident. He was lit up a cigarette. I think the people listen. I'm like, I wish I had his confidence. And that's a lesson there, that sometimes it's not just about, did I use the correct tense, or as did I say it, did I say it like I mean it? Did I say it with conviction? Did I say it comfortably? And that's something all of you have, and I think that's great. A couple things. Careful with that would. I will. I heard again, I will. So you guys are mixing will and would. Okay, will and would. Careful with that. Also, I want everybody to repeat this with me. Okay? Situation, no situation. Es que lo oigo I think it's probably one of the most mispronounced words in the language. So just remember this. A lot of times we say, what's the sitch? O sea, no hace falta ni el uation, pero no es what's the sit. It's what's the sitch, que viene de situation. So say it with me. What's the situation, right? Is this an emergency situation? And again, this is not just Marisol. This is a word I have heard mispronounced over and over and over and over, right? It's a common one, because that, para vosotros, una T es una T, pero en inglés no siempre. Portugal, future, nature, statue, creature, right? So once you get that T and that U as that ch, you'll see that it's also in situation. So excellent job, Marisol and Anix. Right now, we're going to hear from another student who participates every week, and another student where you can feel her positive energy. You can feel her smiling through the audio, spreading good cheer. I'm talking about none other than Nuria.
Dear Alberto and Segundo Namers, this is Nuria once again. As for this week's question, I was scratching my head for a while, and out of the blue, the first thing that came to my mind was that if I could travel back in time, I could return to my childhood. Concretely, when I was 8 years old or so. This way, I could retake those good old days when my grandma, my lovely grandma, lived with us, with my parents, my siblings, I mean, the whole family together. Honestly, one of the most beautiful stages of my life, and of which I keep fond memories. Take care, amigos. Thank you.
Wow, yeah. What a great answer. I would go back to when my grandparents were alive. That is that guy. Nudia, you stole my answer. Yeah, that's, I mean, yeah, so, ancient Greece sounds awesome. Ancient Egypt, you know what I mean? Mesopotamia, the Roman Empire, the 1960s in the United States. A lot of good answers, a lot of different times that would be interesting to live in, but that's a great answer. That is a really good answer, because I would give anything to have a Sunday dinner with my grandparents again, with all four of them. Not together because they lived in the United States and the others lived in Spain, but grandparents, how special are grandparents? I always see it in a lot of families, and I hate to say it, but when the grandparents die in families, as they always do, they pass on, they pass away, the family loses, it's not as tightly knit as it was. And I don't think that's on purpose. I think grandparents are the glue. And when they're gone, some of that glue gets lost. So what a beautiful answer, Nudia. And I second the motion. I want to go back to when I could sit down and have a long lunch laughing, and my jaw would hurt from laughing. Me dolía la mandíbula hanging out with my grandparents. And just be careful. You said I was scratching my head. Cuidado con esa E que se cuela delante la S. I was scratching. Unimos el was con el scratching. I was scratching my head. Excellent expression. Out of the blue. De la nada, out of the blue. All right, so there we go, folks. That is Nudia, and we just heard from Nudia. We also heard from Marisol and Anix, and in the fourth part of the show, we're going to hear from Chris Valrol and from Elena. But right now, it's time for another challenge. It's time for today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
That's right, amigos. It is our Spelling Bee, and it's round one. Oh, wow. Sounds like we've got something exciting going on here today in our Spelling Bee, huh? All right, here we go, folks. Round one. I am going to fly, you know it. So hold on to your hats and get ready. Let's capitalize the first letter of every word. The first one is FIFA space WORLD space CUP. The second one is H-U-N-G-A-R-Y. The third one is B-R-A-Z-I-L. The fourth one is B-A-T-T-L-E space B-E-R-N-E. The fifth one is W-A-N-K-D-O-R-F space S-T-A-D-I-U-M. And the last one is A-R-T-H-U-R space E-L-L-I-S. There you go, my amigos. You've got your spelling bee words round one. We'll see if anybody got them. I really did fly through them, as I always do in the first round. Let's see. Born to Iron Man. Fast AF. Fast as fuck. De cojones. Fast AF. Now, let's see if it's correct. Number one, yes. Number two, yes. Number three, yeah. Number four, oh, ouch. Oh, man, that stinks. Born to Iron Man. The rest is correct. You got one letter wrong. But that's enough to, in this section, be... But don't worry. You've got a second chance. You've got a second chance. And take that second chance. You don't always get that. All right, hang on, Chris Valrol. She's going to take a stab at it before I do round two. The first one is correct, Chris. The second one is correct. The third is correct. The fourth, fifth, and ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your champion, Chris Valrol. All right, everybody, this is round two of today's spelling bee. I'm going to slow down. Let's be clear here. I'm never going to go slow, but I'm going to slow down compared to round one. All right, so the first one is F-I-F-A space W-O-R-L-D space C-U-P. The second one, H-U-N-G-A-R-Y. The third one, B-R-A-Z-I-L. The fourth one, B-A-T-T-L-E space B-E-R-N-E. The fifth one, W-A-N-K-D-O-R-F space S-T-A-D-I-U-M. And the last one is A-R-T-H-U-R space E-L-L-I-S. All right, amigos. So obviously this has something to do with sports, right? We've got another winner, Chris Valrol and Laura. Great job, ladies. There's Elena as well. All right, now we're talking. This is the Champions League, or maybe it's the FIFA World Cup. Well, these words were all related to something that took place today in history in 1954. The FIFA World Cup, that was number one, quarterfinal match, cuartos de final, between Hungary, número dos, Hungary, Hungarian, if somebody's from Hungary, they're Hungarian, and Brazil. It was a match between Hungary and Brazil. They called it the Battle of Bern. So the next one was Battle Bern. Number five, it was at the Wankdorf Stadium. The Wankdorf Stadium, which the word wank is paja in English, so that's a weird name. I imagine it's someone's name, but this is in Switzerland, the Wankdorf Stadium again. And Arthur Ellis was the last name I gave you there, and he was the referee of that game. And well, the game turned very violent, and it's one of these dark days, a dark day in the history of a beautiful sport, right? They call it the beautiful game. All right, excellent job to everybody. And I can't believe it, folks, but we have got to go to our final commercial break right now. When we come back, I'm going to give you your double trouble. Then you've got your Say What soundbite for the fourth time. We'll hear from Chris and who else was it? Chris. We'll hear from some more students in the question of the week. Plus, we've got movies, jokes, famous birthdays, and so much more to do in the fourth and final part of today's show. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back. This is part 4. Really? Oh, my God. I was just going to say part 3. No. This is part 4 of today's show. Again, thank you for all of your energy, for all of your effort. You guys rock. And keep it up this summer. Remember, you're still going to have programs on Vaughn Radio 24/7, 365. So make sure you download the free Vaughn Radio app. Also, download tons of podcasts so you always have content on hand. And I guarantee you can learn from a past show. Right? What's the difference if I did the show today or 4 years ago? I'm still teaching. Okay, maybe my voice has gotten deeper. Eso pasa con los años. Maybe I've gotten more handsome. That happens too. You know, like a fine wine. Es broma, eh? We're always joking around, learning, laughing, and playing here on Vaughn Radio. And don't miss all the other amazing programs. The good thing is when I finish this show every day, I feel good. My conscience is clear because I couldn't leave you in better hands. So that's great. All right, is everybody ready for a challenge? Are you ready for today's triple trouble?
Yeah, double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
All right, folks, don't listen to the guy in the jingle. It's not a double trouble. It's a triple trouble, but it's one that I think is very doable. Here we go. Si no estás espabilado, no te llevaré a la gala y no lo pasarás bien. There you go. You have to use the same word 3 times. So, si no estás espabilado, al tanto, al loro, you say too. No te llevaré a la gala y no lo pasarás bien. All right? That's your triple trouble. You have to use the same word 3 times. I think, again, we've had harder ones. Let's put it that way. ¿no? Lo ponemos así. Más difíciles hemos tenido. So, si no estás al tanto, espabilado al loro, no te llevaré a la gala y no lo pasarás bien. That is your triple trouble. Good luck, my amigos. Also, let me give you today's Say What soundbite for the fourth and final time.
Hearings are over. The airline bill will be defeated in the Senate. TWA will begin flights from New York to Paris, and then on to Moscow, to Japan, to Hawaii, to Los Angeles, to New York. Fuck.
¿Qué tiene que ver la Universidad de Oxford con Vaughan? Pues muchísimo. Es una alegría anunciar que Vaughan ha sido certificado como centro examinador de Oxford Test of English. A partir del próximo mes de marzo 2023, podrás hacer los exámenes de Oxford Test of English en los centros de Vaughan. Si quieres más información sobre esta iniciativa de Vaughan y Oxford, puedes ver más en nuestra página web, grupovaughan.com. O bien síguenos en redes sociales para más información. Britannia rule the world. Oxford Test of English con Vaughan.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right, let's take a look. We've got Elena taking a stab at it. And Elena says, if you're not on the ball, I won't take you to the ball, and you won't have a ball. You're on the ball. Nice job, Elena. If you're not on the ball, to be on the ball, think about it from sports. Estás controlando el balón, lo tienes controlado, estás al tanto, right? You got to be on the ball, okay? It means you need to be, in it. You need to be paying attention. So if you're not on the ball, I won't take you to the ball. And any AC/DC fans will know, I've got big balls. Technically, he's not talking about testicles. He's talking about galas. My balls are always bouncing, marchosos. También es if you ever wanted to hear a double entendres, listen to Big Balls by AC/DC and look at the lyrics and you'll be like, oh my God, gala, pelotas, same. Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So if you're not on the ball, I won't take you to the ball, and you won't have a ball. Elena and Daniela also. Wow, ladies. Elena and Daniela knocking it out of the park in today's triple trouble. And speaking of Elena, why don't we hear from her right now in our question of the week?
Hello, everyone. This is Elena. If I had a time machine, I'd go back to South Africa, hands down. We lived there for a couple of years, and let me tell you, they were the most amazing years of my life. Not only did my confidence with the language grew stronger, but it was also an eye-opener because what you mainly hear from South Africa, sadly, is about apartheid, segregation, violence. But oh my God, it's such a fascinating country with breathtaking views, beautiful wildlife, great safari parks, awesome landscapes. And the cherry on top was Cape Town. And its majestic Table Mountains. I strongly recommend you to include it on your bucket list. This country opened the doors for me. It was so easy to find a job. I got the chance to be meet and greet at the Joburg airport and getting to know people from different backgrounds, cultures, and traditions. I mean, it was amazing. So, tot ziens, everyone, and lekker holiday to you and everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Excellent. What energy, man. What amazing energy you have, Elena. Your energy was coming through the speakers. Like you could feel your energy. That's crazy. That's awesome that you've got that energy and you're not only, because maybe you have the energy, but you're not able to convey it. Well, not in Elena's case. excellent energy. I've never wanted to go to South Africa, not for any reason, because I've got a long bucket list, but you just convinced me. That energy, and that's in the end, that's what you're doing every week. You're convincing people to see things through your eyes, right? When you're saying, well, I would do it this way. And you not only defended it, but now you just made me add it to my list. Because, yeah, she's right. It gets a bad rap. A lot of times you hear about apartheid. You hear about, there's political turmoil there, societal turmoil. But again, that's everywhere. Go to Detroit. You know what I mean? You'll see we have our own problems in Detroit or Pennsylvania or wherever you go. But I've heard there was somebody else, a friend of mine, Dan, who lived in South Africa, and he sings the praises of South Africa all the time. All right, excellent job. And last, but certainly not least, our movie queen, Chris Valrol.
Morning, Namers. Chris Valrol speaking. If I had the gift of becoming invisible, I'd travel back in time to any moment in history, jumping back and forth without taking any risk, because I wouldn't like to end up at the stake, for instance. But since I can't become invisible, as if I were able to travel in time, I'd go back to any moment between 1985 and 2000, kind of. Why? Well, aside from the music, movies, adventures, and all that jazz, to see my grandpas again and spend some time with them. Thank you. Have a nice summer. Bye-bye.
So there's one thing everybody could agree on. We'd love to see our grandparents again, right? If you could just have that one meal together again, that would be amazing. Well, thank you to all of you for all your energy, all your effort. You sounded great, Chris. Amazing job over there. And again, I think you guys should keep it up. Even, when we're not doing question of the week in the summer, practice speaking. I'm telling you, practice speaking all the time. Even if nobody's listening, you'll just get used to saying things, and that's the key. And again, if you have any of the Vaughn materials, which I'm sure many of you do, you've got it all there. You've got the audio. So all you have to do is listen and say, okay, just like a song. You're just like, okay, I'm going to try and imitate what I just heard. So wonderful job. All right, but it's not time for Name That Lyric. It's time for Name That Movie.
Name that movie.
Yes, my amigos. All right. I think this one's going to be pretty easy to figure out. But again, it's not just about figuring it out. It's also about learning vocabulary, expressions, the real way we speak through dialogue, right? In movies. So here we go. You'll either recognize the name or not from the get-go. Desde el primer momento. All right. IMF agent. Now, IMF in the real world is the International Monetary Fund or something like this. But here it's Impossible Missions Force. That's what IMF stands for in this case. Okay. So IMF agent, y ojo con esa palabra, no es agent, no es agency, it's agent, agency. Ethan Hunt. Does that name? Bueno, su nombre es Cazar. It's a good last name to have. Ethan Hunt comes into conflict with a dangerous and sadistic arms dealer who threatens his life and his fiancée in response. Okay. Now, it may ring a bell. I think it might ring a bell. I mean, the name Ethan Hunt, either you know it or not. I mean, I'll give you a clue. they just had a new installment of this movie come out. Una nueva entrega. We say installment. So, it's part of a series of movies. All right, well, let's go through the dialogue that I have here. And Benji is asked if he knows what the rabbit foot was. Si sabía que era la pata de liebre, rabbit's foot, right? The thing that brings you luck. And Benji says, it's interesting. I used to have this professor at Oxford, okay? Dr. Wickham, his name was. And he was like this massive fat guy, you know? Huge, big guy. We used to call him, well, I won't tell you what we used to call him. But he taught biomolecular kinetics and cellular dynamics. And he used to sort of scare the underclassmen. The underclassmen son los más jóvenes. Upperclassmen, underclassmen. With this story about how the world would eventually be eviscerated by technology. You see, it was inevitable that a compound would be created which he referred to as the anti-God. Anti-God, antimatter, right? And it was like an accelerated mutator, or sort of, o algo así. Like an unstoppable force of destructive power that would just lay waste. That means to destroy. That would just lay waste to everything, to buildings and parks and streets and children and ice cream parlors. An ice cream parlor is a place where you get ice cream. A pizza parlor is a place where you get pizza. He goes, so whenever I see like a rogue organization, rogue is they're not on the map. They work on their own, right? A rogue lo sabéis de Rogue One, de Star Wars. A rogue organization willing to spend this amount of money on a mystery tech, I always assume it's the anti-God. End of the world kind of stuff, apocalyptic, end of the world kind of stuff, But no, I don't have any idea what it is. I was just speculating. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Laura and Chris. It's Mission Impossible 3. That's right. This is Mission Impossible 3, and it came out in 2006, obviously starring Tom Cruise. And this was actually J.J. Abrams, speaking of Star Wars, J.J. Abrams' directorial debut. I didn't know that. I didn't know he started doing Mission Impossible movies. So wonderful job, Laura and Chris Valrol. Also, Laura got today's Say What soundbite. Looks perfect. Excellent job. All right, it's time to move on, though, because it's time for your joking.
Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar.
You're joking. All right. Well, I figured we could take a look at some sports jokes today, since we were talking about the FIFA World Cup, and why not, right? And we also said a golf course. Sports always a common thread. I always say I could go to Japan tomorrow and say Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, and have a full conversation without even understanding each other. Like, who's your favorite? It's like Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, and you do the balance. No, lo de cuál es mejor. I'll tell you something. You may not be able to understand each other, but it'll bring you together, or not. All right, so let's take a look at these jokes and see if you get them. What do you call a pig who plays soccer? What do you call a pig who plays soccer? A ball hog. No? You know the word, a ball hog. Speaking of, Cristiano has sometimes been called a ball hog. They say he hogs the ball, que chupa el balón, right? Que es un chupón, you say? A ball hog. Well, in English, we say un cerdo de la pelota, right? And the verb to hog is to take more than your part. Stop hogging the pizza. Everybody has to eat, right? Monopolizar, acaparar, to take more than your portion. So what do you call a pig who plays soccer? A ball hog. He's always hogging the ball. Not hug, hog. H-O-G, que es otra forma de decir cerdo. Okay, how is a baseball team similar to a pancake? Well, they both need a good batter. No? They both need a good batter? Okay, bateador, that's easy. And batter is also what you make pancakes with. Now, it's interesting because in Spanish you say masa para el de pan y también el líquido. Well, for us, it's a little bit different. El de pan, el que es más como duro, it's not hard, but you know what I mean. It's not a liquid, okay? Well, that one we call dough. Es la que usamos para decir dinero también. Dough, D-O-U-G-H. But batter is the liquid one. So what do they have in common? They both need a good batter. All right, last one. Why did Tarzan, you say Tarzan, we say Tarzan. Why did Tarzan spend so much time on the golf course? We looked at the word course. Of course we did. So why did Tarzan spend so much time on the golf course? Well, he was perfecting his swing. Swing es columpiarse, right? But also a swing es su golpe, right? In golf, I think one of the most important things they talk about is you have to work on your swing, tu forma de mover. No piensa lo que haces con tu brazo, right? In baseball, you're swinging, columpiar. It's the same verb in English, right? Que golpear. So he needs to work on his swing. You get it? He swings from vine to vine, but also golf swing. All right, folks, all aboard. It's famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Oi, oi, oi. Birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
Oh, yeah, it's famous birthdays. All right, our first guy, I gave you a lot of clues. His last name was the word that we saw 3 times today in our triple trouble. So pasarlo bien, estar espabilado, pelota también, right? His name is Miguel Pelota. There you go. I think it's an easy one. And again, we looked at the word before in our triple trouble. This guy is an English actor and singer. He originated the role of Marius Pontmercy in the original production of Les Miserables on the West End. Also, he covered the song You'll Never Walk Alone. Does that sound familiar? Speaking of football, you'll never walk alone. And he's been in everything. He was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. This is in theater in the West End. So probably one of the most famous actors on the West End, El Broadway de Londres, right? And again, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the Phantom of the Opera. But again, he originated the role of Marius in the original production of Les Mis. We call it, es tan popular, o era, que se llamaba Les Mis, en vez de Les Miserables. Les Mis. All right, number 2, this director, well, his name is Jeffrey Jacob, but he doesn't go by that. He goes by the initials for Jeffrey Jacob. And, well, he wrote and produced many, many films, such as Armageddon, The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, Star Trek, the 2009 one. Also, he started directing with Mission Impossible 3. Today's Name That Movie. So I already said his name. And last but not least, very interesting guy. If you want to read a little bit about him or watch a documentary, this American businessman founded Pan Am World Airways. Pan Am was one of the most famous airlines, and this guy basically ushered in, ayudó a entrar, the new age, the jet age, because he started using the 707, then later on the 747, and he was responsible for, not just him, his company, Pan Am, for this boom, this huge boom in aviation. And the guy was a character, quite a character. All right. You can see his story, part of his story, in The Aviator, right? Because, well, in fact, he's played in The Aviator by, what's his name? Que tienen los hermanos, Baldwin, one of the Baldwins, right? All right, Chris Valrol, you got it. Number 1, Michael Ball. Number 2, J.J. Abrams. And number 3, Juan Tripp. And this is Juan Tripp, or I should say, one of the Baldwins, Alec Baldwin, playing Juan Tripp in the last scene of The Aviator. And what's happening is he's looking at a map of the globe and realizing that his monopoly that he had was over, because TWA, another airline, just got the concessions to fly around the world too. So now they had competition. That's why the fuck at the end. So he says, the hearings are over, las audiencias. The hearings are over. He looks at a map. He says the airline bill will be defeated in the Senate. TWA, Trans World Airlines, that was their direct competition, will begin flights over New York to Paris, and then on to Moscow and Japan, to Hawaii, to Los Angeles, to New York. And as he's moving his finger around the globe, he's realizing their monopoly is done. And then he utters the word, fuck. Here he is, the actor Alec Baldwin, playing birthday boy Juan Tripp.
Hearings are over. The airline bill will be defeated in the Senate. TWA will begin flights from New York to Paris, and then on to Moscow, to Japan, to Hawaii, to Los Angeles, to New York. Fuck.
All right, amigos, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure as always. We are out of here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll be back soon, I promise. Ciao for now.